Hi, welcome back to the Mike Gormley Show with Ira Ingber as guest and his work with Bob Dylan over the years. We're discussing that due to the fact that the film is just out and everybody's talking about it. Um, and we just listened to Like a Rolling Stone, which is a masterpiece of a song in my humble opinion. Um, on the way out, we listened to All Over Now. It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. Um, that version, you're playing guitar on there, right? Because it was
Right.
redone for the
For Shadow Kingdom. Yeah.
Shadow Kingdom.
Huh?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
With it different, I mean, I have to compare the two, but is it dramatically
Well, I mean,
different?
the challenge for all of those songs on Shadow Kingdom was how do you beat those originals? And the
Yeah.
answer is you don't. You go around them,
Hmm.
And but the poignancy really was a guy in his 80s singing songs that he wrote when he was in his 20s. So the
Hmm.
point of view changed completely. The 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 interpretation of
Al Cooper wasn't playing organ.
Al was not playing. Well, Al wasn't on the original of Baby Blue.
No,
Uh,
he was.
Bruce Langhorne was playing guitar on
It's a
that.
great Dylan story though about how Al Cooper ended up playing organ on Like a Rolling
Oh, it's the
Stone.
best. It's the
I mean, he
best. Yeah,
never played organ before,
yeah.
evidently.
And he was praying that the organ was on because he didn't know how to even turn it on. So yeah, no, that part. I again, it's in the movie. I suppose they got that part right because you couldn't even write something that great. It's such a great story.
Yeah, excellent. Um, so we've been talking about Bob Dylan, and I think that's a good idea. We don't have to stop, but I want to hear about what Ira's up to these days because you're still a very busy guy, and I know about a very interesting band called Bearing All, who
Mm.
do not play live. It's all YouTube for if you want to check them out. It's Ira and Steve Bartek, who is known best from Oingo Boingo and his work with Danny Elfman over the years. And is it a hobby? How do you describe Bearing All?
Well, the music, I've been asked about the music. How are things in the music business? And so the quick answer is, well, there is no music business as we knew it. When songs, when recorded songs became devalued to the point of not having any real value, the business was over. Um, the record plant recording studio closed a few months back, which in and of itself doesn't mean a lot, but it does indicate an end of an era, a big era. And that room, that facility generated what, $1 billion worth of revenue? I don't know. A lot of money came out of those places. A lot was spent, a lot came out. And so that era is gone. And so bearing all as an example is, I won't call it a hobby, I'll call it a passion that Steve and I both found each other. We've tremendous overlapping interests, tremendous overlapping appreciation for similar things. We have a lot of agreement in what we find really stimulating, not just music, but art in general. But when we started playing together as two guitar players, this this magic happens. We finish each other's musical sentences,
Mhm.
and we instinctively know what to do. We don't look for. We're not problem solving and not coming up with answers. We Stuff just works out properly because we have an inherent trust of each other, tremendous musical respect, and we enjoy it. And so
Really,
it,
it's really A-level music.
yeah,
I mean,
thank
you
you.
guys, you guys are far too professional to to
We're
mess
too good
around. I mean, you can
for,
mess around, but even when you guys try to mess around, it comes out better than most people.
yeah,
So
we're too good for our own good, huh? What
yeah, no,
we
it's too
no,
bad you
but
don't. It's
every
too,
time we get together, something happens.
uh-huh.
Something that pleases both of us, and
Hmm.
and and hopefully the listener will enjoy. We make music that's we call unapologetic. It's the best we can do. It's the music that fulfills us. It satisfies us, and you know, the problem, a problem that I run into is, well, what do you guys sound like? What's your genre? And I would be the last person to ask. I have no idea what our genre is. If I
Mhm.
had a genre, I would probably not make this music because it's supposed to defy that stuff. And I
Mhm.
think that what we are attempting to do, and I think we're succeeding, is to create a path that reflects a unique take on our vision of how we want to hear things, mixing metaphors of vision and hearing.
Mhm.
But I think that it's satisfying in a way that I could never have imagined years ago because we're free, like you were saying, as a hobby or whatever it is, we're free to do what we want.
Right.
And that is difficult to do because we're not being tasked. We had deadlines that we sort of had imposed on us for a couple of deliveries, but we're not tasked with doing anything. We're doing exactly what it is we want to do, and we consider it very important to do it. And we bring in people, we cast people for their strengths, cellists, violinists, singers, who we want to work with. So we're free to do that because we're not a band.
And there's another Bartek Ingber band called Jackie O.
Jackie O takes that further into four people who do play live. John Avila from Boingo is the bass player, and David Raven, who's played with everybody in the universe,
Yeah.
maybe other universes too, uh, uh, rounds out the four of us. And it's a similar kind of a deal. When we play together, this magic happens because it's about mutual trust. We're all producers, and so we know what it's like to be out there, say singing. The three of us are propping up that fourth person, the way a producer is supposed to prop up the lead singer. So that carries uh, it carries forth the um, the growth that we've all experienced after having done it for so long. It's a manifestation of the experiences of knowing what to do in a given situation.
And
So
both artists are all over Spotify and all those different platforms and YouTube, and but you don't tour. So
well, bearing all well, Jackie O doesn't tour because everybody's too busy not, playing with other people, John especially, and well, David too. Um, and bearing all, we could play. We played a few weeks back as a little trio scaled down, and it was fun.
mm,
I have changed my expectations about. We've used the word expectation a lot today, so I have to change my view of not necessarily. And maybe take a page out of Bob, where those recordings are the recordings. What we do live is going to be something else.
yeah.
We're not going to recreate those recordings. It would be too hard to do. But maybe reinterpret them.
Well,
And
we're running out of time, as they say in showbiz.
good.
And it's been great talking to you and hearing the Dylan stories. I know there are many other stories.
He's
But
one of the most entertaining guys ever.
yeah,
In terms of he's funny. He's a terrific sense of humor
uh,
and a very sly wit, as you would expect. And it's been a thrill to be able to play with him. We can close with that.
you actually co-wrote with him,
I did.
but
I
he
did.
wouldn't put his name on it or
Gave me
something.
a pseudonym to use, which apparently he's done with other people.
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
that's another episode to talk about.
right.
Um, but the last thing I would say about Bob in terms of my relationship with him, he he wants to be a music. He wants to relate as a musician.
Hmm.
You're working. When we were working together, it was two guys in a room trying to figure things out. It wasn't this guy sitting up on a pedestal looking down at me.
Yeah,
We were equals at that point.
that's great. That's fantastic. Well, thanks so much for being here. We're gonna top it off with one of the greats, "Times They Are a Changin'," which is one of his first well-known songs. So we've been talking to Ira Ingber about Bob Dylan because Ira's worked with and written with and hung out with Bob Dylan, and not many of us can say that. Thanks so much for coming by, Ira, and all the best with Bearing All and Jackie O, because they're great bands. And
Thank
we
you.
shall see you along the way.